their base. Republicans say the way the Democrats acted galvanized theirs, but in between, there are millions of Americans that aren't feeling the same excitement. Our friend Stephen Kent joining me tonight on the road from Salt Lake City, Utah, to talk about this and more. Good to see you, Stephen.
Thanks, Jim.
This week, you know, you're an avid tweeter. We follow each other on Twitter. We've known each other for about a year now. You've come on our show. You have been a lifelong Republican. We say lifelong. I mean, you know, you're not exactly an old man here. But, you know, a lot of disenchanted with politics, and this week you said you're one of them.
I am. Do you remember that scene in The Patriot where the British and the Loyalists, they get together all of the townsfolk who have been helping the revolutionaries, and the wicked colonel says, we're going to burn this church. I order you to burn the church. Throw down the torches. And the Loyalists who are running with the British in this situation, they look at him and they go, there's no honor in this. These are our neighbors. These are people we used to live and commune with and dine with. And I can't help but think about that scene when I think about the past week in American politics, sort of just the vengeful, contemptful nature of what we saw going on in the Senate with Kavanaugh, and then the victory lap that ensued afterwards. I think I'm done with this, Jim. This is sort of a new low, and I'm curious how you want to unpack this. But, you know, I think a lot of people are watching this with their jaws to the ground, and some just aren't willing to speak up and say it.
Well, you know, first of all, if I'd known we were going to go down the path of the Patriot, we would have pulled some clips and we would have relived that moment together. But I think the point here is, I know a lot of Democrats who don't like the path the party is going down right now. They think that maybe the Democrats are going too far left. Because I grew up in an area that was very socially conservative. I shouldn't say socially conservative.
Yeah, you're a Pennsylvania boy.
But you look at like they're very pro-union, but still very traditional on some social issues. Republicans, I mean, we saw a big schism in the Republican Party leading up to the election of Donald Trump. The party has seemed to come together for the most part. But again, like I said, there are a lot of people who are really in between everything. They see all this play out. They don't know where to fall. And the perception in American politics is that third parties really don't do much. And let's be honest, Stephen, I can't see a third party right now that has much sway anywhere in Washington.
Yeah, third parties don't have power. And, you know, there's something of collective action problem. Everybody who's disenchanted with American politics and is tired of the sports just sort of destroy everything in your path nature of the Republican versus Democrat feud, they basically wait on their neighbors to make that change. They look at their friends, the people in their network, and they go, you know, well, maybe if they jump, maybe I'll jump too. And eventually then nobody jumps. Everybody stays because it feels better. You have community when you're in a political party. You know, I've been a Republican and a proud one since I was 11. I'm a 9/11 era Republican. I grew up in that time, and we don't live in the era of policies of, you know, Paul Ryans of the world anymore. The Republicans gave up on that with Donald Trump. I was willing to stomach that to a certain extent because I sort of believe that it's a phase, you know, like we'll come back to this. But even if we do, I think this week we just sort of laid bare that there is nothing left to American politics besides destruction of your opponents and a disacknowledgement that these people are your neighbors and that we're trying to bring the country together. There is no more of that. You know, the popping of the cork over Kavanaugh in the conservative media and even Republican senators who were pretending to be impartial a couple of days ago, then just like rejoicing on Twitter. It just pulls the veil back, and it's very, very transparent. I hope a third party emerges one day. I mean, there is a libertarian party. I like libertarians, but they got to get their house in order, and I think that there will be a home for people one day.
So, I mean, but you look at it that way, and we look at what was going on in Erie tonight and rallies, and you have tens of thousands of people who love President Trump. They love the idea that he talks about, as you said, winning, and you say maybe winning at any cost. But there are still, I mean, Republicans who have been enthralled by the fact that this is a guy who came in and shook up the political process, and maybe some of those people are watching tonight, and they think that you're crazy for thinking about this the way you are.
Yeah, I get that. I get that. I'm tired of winning, I guess. You know, maybe maybe Donald is right.
Yeah.
But listen, the Republican base, there's the 20 to 30% core of the Republican base. So again, we're talking about a very small set of the country and then a small subset of the Republican base that will go with Trump wherever he goes. Like the Trump train was what they were waiting for. The Republican Party, they never felt very connected with, right? Paul Ryan was never their guy. Eric Cantor, who they booted out, was never their guy. They were waiting for Donald Trump. And that is 20 to 30% of the Republican Party. And then kind of the rest are just willing to go along because you like to win, right?
Sure.
Like you've been getting kicked around by Democrats for several years and getting beaten by Obama twice. It feels good to get back and win. But we've reached a point of contempt. And I think that it has gone too far. And the parties are running this country like a cartel. They basically have found their customers, and then they squeeze out all the opposition by making everybody afraid of alternatives and afraid to seek out help in these situations. And it's very sad.
I think you're onto something there, and I know we could talk about this all night. We don't have enough time to do that. But, Stephen, always good to see you. Love to have you back here sometime. I know you've been on the road. You're a busy man these days. Stephen Kent, check him out on Twitter.